Brethren and companions, as we begin our journey through 2021, after arguably the most challenging year in our Masonic journey to date, I wanted to take this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a happy, peaceful, but most importantly, a healthy new year. We find ourselves in difficult circumstances as we speak, almost 300 days of lockdown and a lack of Masonic activity in West Kent. And I urge you all to heed the call to remain indoors and stay safe, so all of us are able to return to the joys of our Masonic meetings in due course. I'm greatly encouraged at the news that the COVID vaccine is being rolled out throughout our province, including at our Masonic centres, and I remain optimistic about the prospects that widespread vaccination will bring. But your welfare and safety remain paramount, and we must be realistic about opportunities for provincial activities in 2021. During the pandemic, we have sadly lost many members, each of whom was cherished by us all. As a consequence, Warren Muckle, who oversees our website development, has added an In Memorium section to the members area of our provincial website. It lists the names, Masonic rank, and date of passing of those who we have sadly lost a while during 2020, and which will be updated on an ongoing basis. I've been saddened that so much of our busy 2020 Masonic agenda was lost to us, and as such, member engagement became of critical importance. So my heartfelt congratulations go to Daniel Spencer and the whole communications team for arranging, at very short notice, over 40 virtual provincial events via Zoom during 2020, which proved to be of incredibly interest, even attracting audiences from other provinces and indeed from overseas. The size of our audiences evidenced your interest in these events, and such was their success that we have now planned a further suite of virtual events during 2021 to be hosted by James McCafferty. I was so disappointed that our Provincial Grand Lodge meeting at Great Queen Street last May, which we hold in the presence of our families, loved ones and community leaders, was overtaken by events, as was the Provincial Grand Chapter meeting in November. My heart goes out to those who would have received a first appointment and were unable to attend to be invested as we had hoped, and especially those who received an active rank and were unable to join the provincial executive as escorts during the course of their year. Innovation has always been at the heart of West Kent's activities, and despite the difficult prevailing circumstances last year, a provincial business meeting for the Craft and the Royal Arch, under the Rule of 6 protocols, was held outdoors at Oakley House to meet the requirements stipulated in my patent of appointment. It is also fair that I share with you at the earliest opportunity our current thinking for these events during 2021, and we have concluded that we will definitely hold a Craft provincial business meeting on the 4th of May 2021, assuming, of course, that prevailing government restrictions enable us to do so, in a similar fashion to those we held in 2020, and similar arrangements will be made for a Royal Arch business meeting thereafter. I can clarify, however, that we will not be holding a Provincial Grand Lodge or Grand Chapter meeting at Great Queen Street in 2021, due to the financial outlay and notice period required to confirm such events, and not when member welfare remains of such vital importance to us, and for which we remain unconvinced of member support. Instead, we propose to hold a Royal Arch investiture event at Oakley House in October or November. Given the increased number of appointments and promotions in the Craft, we will either do the same as in the Royal Arch, or alternatively, hold a number of local events at various centres across the province. As part of my annual responsibilities, I'm required to complete some quite extensive reports for United Grand Lodge of England and Supreme Grand Chapter. 2020 was no different, and we received 6 of these in the last 2 months to complete, 2 of which were searching questionnaires on our membership strategy. In the Craft, I was encouraged to see that we admitted 34 new members in the 2 months prior to the suspension, and a survey of our lodges confirmed that, during the remainder of 2020, we received a further 187 applications for membership. This confirms that the groundwork undertaken by a membership development team, formerly under Mark Ars Thomas and now under Ian Gallihawk, our dedicated head of membership development, in member attraction, retention and retrieval, has been fruitful. Had we been able to admit just 150 of those 187 members, we would have, for the very first time, admitted more members than those that had left or died during the same period. We have a similar positive story in the Royal Arch, with 45 exaltees awaiting admission, and excellent work by the Royal Arch executive team in minimising departures. However, this is by no means an excuse for complacency in membership development, and due to your continued work during 2021, I am expecting an even larger number of those awaiting admission. Groundbreaking work is being undertaken via Zoom by our PGMs and by our membership team on a one-to-one basis with each of our lodges, based on the wisdom contained in the members' pathway, and the proactive work that each of you has been doing since March 2020 will undoubtedly achieve that aim. This is especially important as previous studies have shown that 50% of our lodges did not admit a member in the last 12-month period, and that some had not had a candidate for over 3 years, which, from a membership development perspective, is totally unacceptable to me. With the benefit of some spare time during the suspension, I've been interested to read some of the work by Alan Lakin, an American author who may be known to some of you, and who specialises in personal time management. I was very struck by one of his quotes, which reads, "Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it." This reminded me that each of us have been afforded the opportunity during the lockdown of reviewing the use of our time and how we could use it more productively and wisely, especially given the lessons afforded to us by 2020, and given what that we've achieved as a province through collective effort rather than as individuals. And there are some clear lessons for us all in West Kent for 2021. Each of us as individuals and as lodges and chapters have a God-given opportunity to review our priorities and ask that searching question, what is the best use of our time right now? I believe it was John Fitzgerald Kennedy who said, whilst we're all spending time on our sofas, we must use time as a tool, not as a couch. And Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, yet together we can achieve so much. We have all had a great deal of time to think and reflect over the past 12 months, and we have learnt a lot about ourselves last year, which is one positive we can take from this catastrophic pandemic. While there will always be a tremendous amount of personal achievement which some of our members have made, real and original progress for our province, especially in our most important priority of membership development, will come from the anonymous thousands of you that contribute towards that common aim. It's the schoolboy quote from Aristotle that says, "The whole is greater than the sum of the parts," and this has been demonstrated in the most glowing way recently, from the work you have all undertaken on behalf of your communities, to the most brilliant scientists in their laboratories, to the men and women that have been there unselfishly for us all in the NHS. Everyone has worked towards coping with and solving a global crisis. There are sadly always those who reject innovation and resist progress despite the overwhelming evidence from the successes being achieved by other lodges and chapters, and by doing so perhaps endangering their own future. Mercifully these are few, and given the work of our executive and development teams, hopefully decreasing by the day, as we adopt a more thoughtful and collegiate approach to retaining and growing our membership. I sense a real move away from the cult of the individual at the moment, as we all focus on our common aims and objectives to achieve our collective provincial goals. But this has always been bread and butter to us as Freemasons. We have always shunned personal vanity and acclaim, and chosen to devote our time and energy to enjoying our membership, growing our lodges and chapters, and working quietly and diligently to help others. I know that many of you, like me, are looking forward to 2021 and the hope that it brings. I am, however, reluctant to see a return to normality as an ambition because we in West Kent are capable of so much more than simply returning to the status quo of the past. Our ambition should be to return to our meetings wiser, deeper and more reflective than ever before about what we can achieve together, and bring to bear the experiences of the past year to tailor our decisions for the future. We have all, in differing ways, and to a lesser or greater extent, had a miserable experience in 2020, so naturally optimism for 2021 abounds. Let's harness that in everything we do this year, and use the time that we have been gifted to prepare for when we can meet again. But, in the meantime, do all we can to support each other to achieve our provincial objectives and the goals for our lodges and chapters, and of course, those of our communities, until a brighter future arrives. In the meantime, my very best wishes to you and your loved ones for an enjoyable, memorable, successful, but most of all, a healthy 2021. And may God bless you all.